In this video, I'm going to go over some of the craziest things that has ever happened to me on route. And if you stay to the end, you're never going to believe what happened to me in a dark alley in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So let's get into it. Most of the things that happened crazy-wise on route and stuff like that was when I was doing Frontload in Minnesota. I came across a lot of crazy stuff. One time, it was middle of winter. It was actually pretty nice outside, really. It wasn't real cold. It was actually quite nice out for being winter. But we had kind of gotten an ice storm. Not really a big one, but the roads were absolute terrible. And they were really icy. And a lot of the front load stops in Minnesota when it comes to apartment buildings and stuff had to, they kept the containers down in an underground garage. And so you'd kind of park up on a ramp. So you'd have to walk underneath the garage and bring the containers out. Some of these entrances to the garage can get rather steep. And I'm sitting there and I parked up at the top and kind of walked down it. I tested it and I was like, oh, it seems okay, And I knew that this particular apartment building did have buckets of salt and sand, just in case I got down there and I couldn't get back up. The little driveway, the ramp, seemed like it was dry enough to where it wasn't going to cause a problem. So I start heading down there real slow, and I get about halfway down, and the truck starts sliding. I'm out of control. And there's absolutely nothing that I can do. And the only thing I could do was I'm like smashing on the brakes. Hit the brakes! Hitting the brakes, and I ended up pulling my parking brake. And I stopped and I looked, and I was about, I'm not kidding, 3 inches, maybe 2 inches from the top of that garage door. And my boom of my front load truck would have absolutely just demolished that area if I wasn't able to stop. So that was crazy. That was probably one of the most nerve-wracking things. Knowing that you're going down a ramp and you're just sliding, and I just happened to hit a dry patch in that pavement, and the emergency brake or the parking brake, I just hit the brake really quick, and it just happened to catch a dry spot in that ramp, and that was what saved me from sliding right into the top of that garage door. So got lucky on it. So one of the most absolutely heart-wrenching, scariest things that's ever happened while I was on route, back in Minnesota, of course. I was doing a residential route, side load truck, come up to the street, and I was on probably stop 900 at the time, getting late in the day. When you're driving the side load truck, you pull kind of past the can, and you look at the can in your mirror to find the spot where you need to grip it, and didn't notice anything, didn't see anything while pulling up to the can. As I passed the can, didn't really notice anything, nothing different about it or anything. And I go to grip the can, and just as I'm about to grip the can, I saw something out of the corner of my eye.
Corner of my eye, I spot something.
What was that? I stopped and I looked again. Well, here it was a young child that was like playing hide and seek with the truck. And that, I've never been more scared or like that put me on edge for a long time. And it was like every can I picked up, I thought I was gonna grab another kid. Like, not that I grabbed him to begin with, but it was the scariest,
what happened up there, but I was so scared.
most heart-wrenching thing. All I could picture was grabbing. If I didn't notice him in the split second that I did, I would have grabbed him between him and the can. And those rippers grab tight. I'm not saying it would have killed him, but it probably would have done a lot of damage. And it potentially probably would have killed him. And it was one of the most heart-wrenching things I have ever gone through in my life when it comes to picking up cans in this business. That struck a nerve to me like you wouldn't believe. So, one of the absolute most craziest things that has ever happened. I got hired to do a commercial rear load route. Now, if you don't know what a commercial rear load route is, let me explain quick. So it's basically like front load, except you drive a rear load truck like this one, but it's got a little bar on the back of it, and you have to push. Generally, there's 2-yard containers, either 1 or 2-yard containers, steel, poly containers. Most of them were steel, and you had to basically take that said container, and it had a bar on. It had kind of like two little, it's hard to explain. Two little things on the side. Instead of pockets, it had 2 little bars. So the rear load truck that I drove had it specifically designed for commercial cans, and it had like 2 slots, here, one here, and one there, and it had a bar that came down on the bottom. So you would push the container in like this, put it in, you'd latch it on, that bar would raise the container up, dump it into the back. Okay? So you basically had to back up to every single container. Now, commercial rear load, you were designed to get into spots that the front load trucks couldn't get into. Whether it was too tall, too narrow. A lot of times I was backing down alleys that were 200 yards long, and I'd have an inch on either side of my mirrors. You know, I'd be right up against walls, and it was crazy. It's about 2:30 in the morning. It's a typical morning, no different than any other stop, any other day that I've ever had in the morning. You know, granted, it's 2:30 in the morning. There's a lot of weird people that can be out at that time. But I'm servicing the can, and I get done servicing the container. And as I'm pushing it back into the enclosure, my truck starts like revving, like, oh. What is happening with my truck? And I start walking back, and it starts revving again. I'm like, what is going on? So I get back to my truck, my door's open. I'm like, okay, that's weird. I know I didn't leave my door open. And I kind of slowly walk up there, and sure enough, there's somebody sitting in my driver's seat.
What is happening here?
I didn't know the person, and here was some dude that was completely strung out on drugs. I have no idea what kind of drugs they were, but he claimed that was his truck. And I said, no, buddy, that's my garbage truck. What are you doing with my garbage truck? He says, no. He says, no, that's my garbage truck. And I said, no. I think you're mistaken. I think that's my garbage truck. And he goes, no, you're trying to steal my truck. I said, no, you're trying to steal my truck. Well, come to find out, he was trying to take it or trying to drive away, but he had it in drive, right? He had it in drive like that, but he never knew how to push the brake in to actually go. I said, why don't you step out, or we can get the authorities involved.
You're gonna call the police on me?
Yes. It's amazing what you run into at 2:30 in the morning in a big city like downtown Minneapolis, and you come across all kinds of people. Some of the craziest people, some of the most unspeakable things that you could imagine that the garbage truck driver sees. Back then, I didn't know whether I should be mad, whether I should laugh, whether I should cry because somebody was trying to steal my truck. I wasn't sure what. So those are just a few of the things that have happened to me while I've been a garbage man in the almost 25 years I've been doing this. If you like this video, drop a like, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. We'll see you in the next one.